we are all unique and have our own personal story. So dive in with me and let's get to know some extraordinary people.
This week on Dive In with Amy, you are going to be hearing from a dear friend of mine, Bonnie Smith, who is a pure delight. I hope you enjoy the episode.
I feel like we're on a radio show.
Oh, girl, you just wait. We're going to be like Howard Stern, so this is going to get dirty.
Oh, please, I love Howard Stern. Let's do it.
All right, we are here today with Bonnie O'Brien, who is now Bonnie Smith. It's like you probably consider me Amy Hall.
Always.
And you're
and forever.
Bonnie O'Brien. You're still Bonnie O'Brien.
It rolls off the tongue, don't you feel like?
Absolutely. Mm-hmm. So Bonnie is my fellow Kennedy and Dolly lover.
Yes. Jolene. Yes, please.
I love it.
All day, every day.
All right, so we are going to dive in.
Let's do it.
Dive in with Amy.
All right.
So, question for you.
Hit me.
You ready for it?
Yes. I'm happy to be with you, by the way.
Well,
this is fabulous.
I am honored that you would even accept the invitation. Okay, Bonnie.
Yes.
You have to cast a play.
Okay.
Who would be your two lead actors? It can be anybody. It could be somebody you know. It could be somebody famous. Anybody. Think about it.
Okay.
You're casting a play.
Got it.
Who are your two lead actors?
Okay, so actors as in, do they have to be two men or actors as in male, female?
Whatever. They could be two males, females.
I think it would be me and Meryl. That's who I would cast.
So you'd cast yourself.
I would cast myself.
And Meryl Streep?
Meryl Streep.
Okay, let's dive in.
Done like dinner, right?
What's the play about?
So as soon as you said that, a thing popped into my mind years ago. Someone said, you look like Meryl Streep. You have her bone, like structure of her face, which I truly don't. But every once in a while, I'm like, oh, Meryl Streep. And I look like,
I can see it.
Which is, it's every once in a while. You can kind of see it. So I'm like, Meryl would be my mom, of course. Right?
This is good.
Right. Meryl would be my mom. And from there, I don't know. I feel like it would just be us wreaking havoc. I don't know, like life lessons learned. So... Right? I feel like it would be a blast. And anything Meryl does is, right? She's amazing. She's amazing. Like, it turns to gold. She's King Midas.
Okay, so is she your favorite actress then? Or you just say Meryl because somebody says that somebody has told you that you resemble her?
No, I love Meryl Streep. I was just watching Devil Wears Prada this week, and it's...
one of the best.
It's honestly, like, it's amazing. Is she my favorite, though? I don't know if she's my favorite of all time, but she is definitely, like... I would say top three.
Top three.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, now let's dive into the actual play.
Okay,
so you're wreaking havoc.
Okay.
She's playing your mom.
Yes.
Are there any particular scenes that you can envision in this play? Any particular instances or stories or experiences with your own mother that you would like to see portrayed in a play?
Okay. So yes, that's so funny. So I actually have this great idea for a TV show about my mom through decades. So I actually think about it all the time. And that dynamic of mother and daughter, that is like heaven and hell, right?
Okay.
So like you can fight like the Dickens with your mom, but at the end of the day, you love your mom and you adore her and you know, so I can kind of see like a great like argument scene, you know, with Meryl and I. And then like, but of course we have to learn like some life lesson and me just adoring her at the end and being like, okay, maybe both of us coming to an epiphany that maybe we're both right in some way. Because I think that's what mothers and daughters do a lot, like through, you know, whatever our pattern of life, that we realize like, oh, maybe mom's not crazy and maybe the daughter's not maybe as foolish as mom might think.
Right.
So that's what I'm like kind of envisioning.
Okay. Before we I want to keep diving into more of these things, but why don't you give us a little background on you and your mom, the relationship? You're the baby in the family.
I'm not.
You're not the baby?
No, it's so funny though, but everybody thinks I am. Everybody thinks I am because my younger sister Molly is so adult.
Right.
And she's like 6 feet tall.
I always envision Molly as your older sister.
I know, everybody does. And it's funny because it drives Molly crazy. She's like, everyone thinks I'm older, but Molly's actually 13 months and 4 days younger than me.
And it could be as well because you were the last to get married.
Yes.
The last to have
babies.
kids.
Yep.
I sometimes feel like people think that maybe I'm not the baby in the family. Or
That's funny.
I am the baby in the family, excuse me. Because Sarah, my little sister, she got married before I did.
Oh, that's funny.
She's
I thought you
taller,
were the baby.
And I think she is more mature. No, Sarah's the baby.
That's
I'm 3
really
years older
funny.
than Sarah. Yeah, okay. So
I'm bowled over right now. I didn't know that. Okay.
Yeah, and
I thought Sarah was older than you.
I always thought Molly was older than you.
There you
And
go.
I love the name Molly. I love the name Bonnie. Okay, so back it up.
Okay, so mother, and
Explain the family dynamic.
okay, so we have the fam bam, and my mother is like matriarch of all, and all knowing, all wise. Some would describe her as a pisser, a real pisser. Like she is a little bit competitive, and by little bit I mean completely.
How old is she?
She just turned 72 in June.
Oh, she's my mom's age.
Yeah, and she's a firecracker. And you just adore her. She's amazing. But at the same time, we kind of look at her life and we're like, sometimes mom picks the losing horse. Like, that's just what she does. So she's a tidge arrogant. So I think that's why in adulthood, us daughters try to be a little bit more passive or not nearly as aggressive as my mom is.
Okay.
Yeah, but not a bad thing. But it's just
Right.
something that we've learned. We're like, oh, mom might be a little bit nuts, but it's her charm. She's so charming. It's ridiculous. I can talk to anybody.
I love your mom.
Right? She's amazing. Like, I don't know anybody that's ever met my mom that didn't love her. So,
Can I just say one thing?
yes.
I remember, and I still feel stupid about this. Do you have any experiences where you just say something and you just like shoot yourself in the foot? You just say stupid crap.
I do this a lot.
So I met your sister, Kelly.
Did you think she was my mom?
Yes.
Everybody does.
It was like the first time I ever met her.
Yes.
And I said, oh, this must be your mom.
All these guys from work were like, oh, that's your mom. And I was like, no. That is my sister. And it's kind of weird because our moms are older.
Right.
They're just older. They just
Right.
are. Like, my sister's 50, in her 50s.
Right. So there's a big, how old are you?
I'm 37.
There you go.
So she's 52. So there is
And
this
she's a
giant
doll.
age gap.
It's
Oh,
not
she's
like
wonderful.
she's a doll, but I remember saying that, and that's something that stuck with me, and I just feel so silly.
No, a lot of people have done that. And it's funny because my mom ran companies when we were younger. My parents owned towing companies, so they were away a lot. So Kelly took over. So Kelly went to our parent-teacher conferences. If we had a birthday party, Kelly handled it. So Kelly was our go-to and still is. Like, if we need babysitters, we go to Kelly. So it's funny with my mom. She has kind of like almost like a grandmother dynamic.
Yeah.
And not
That is
super mother.
interesting.
It's a weird dynamic. It really is. And it's funny where like my sister's husband, they've been married since 1988.
Wow.
Right? Like almost our whole life.
Right.
So like when we've had my sister got married and I got married, our husbands totally like look up to my brother-in-law. They're like, it's so weird. He's like a father figure, but he's
Right.
not. It's totally a weird dynamic.
That is very interesting. Now, was Kelly the strict older sister,
Oh,
or was she
no.
more like,
Oh,
we
no.
I don't need to see the report cards.
No.
We just like,
She will tell you right now. She will tell her kids. She will tell anybody. If you need me to lie for you, just let me know. And she will get mad at her children. She's like, I will back you up in a lie. That is what my job is. My job is to back you up.
that's
so
fantastic.
she used to take us out of school all the time. And we would just like go on excursions. She'd be like, well, let's go to lunch. And I was like, okay, let's go. And she would just take us out of school. And that's what we did. Or like, when Kelly got married, it was 1988, so I was 7. Kelly went into Weight Watchers, so I went to Weight Watchers with her and like would weigh in every week. And yeah, that's just what we did. She took us to Disneyland. Like, we went on trips. Her best friends, we were in her best friends' weddings. Like, to this day, we're all still like very close.
Well, you're all very close. In fact, we have our darling little Bridgie here. Kelly watches Bridgie. Is that
Every
right?
day. Well, 4 days out of the week. Yep.
4 days out of the week. So that is fascinating. I feel like this play, Meryl would be your mom. Who would play Kelly?
Gosh, that is a
Because
good
I feel
question.
like this is multi-level.
Yes.
It's
Gosh, maybe Meryl would play Kelly.
Maybe.
Maybe because that whole maternal.
Shirley MacLaine.
Oh my gosh. For
Shirley
the
MacLaine
win.
for
For
your
the
mom.
win. Yes. Yes.
Oh, I love her. She's my favorite actress.
I love her. And she's a Spitfire and a redhead
yeah.
like my mother.
Yes.
Yes.
I think you need to rethink
Okay,
that. And I don't want to put thought. I don't want to speak on your behalf.
So when you initially said play, I don't know if I was thinking of my life. So
Well, it's
Yes.
any play. I was just, you love theater.
love it. I love
You love
theater.
theater, and so that's I had asked the question.
Absolutely. Done.
Okay, so backing up, Meryl is Kelly.
Meryl's Kelly.
You play yourself.
Yes.
And perhaps Shirley MacLaine would play your mom.
100%. Not even a perhaps.
This is, okay, I want to keep talking. I love this dynamic. So it's like you essentially have two moms.
It is. Yes. So in a way, it's really great. It's funny because my younger sister and I will talk about this where we kind of have to tap dance to two worlds because we always want to appease mom because she's mom.
Right.
But then Kelly and it's real life. So it's such a trip and a half. Yeah.
Now with Bridgie and Kelly,
they're extremely close.
Very close. Is she more like a grandmother or more of an aunt?
So, that's a good question. It's weird. Bridget reminds me of Kelly.
Really?
Yes, they have like really biting personalities. They're very quick. And she's like an aunt, not a grandma. I don't know. Like she actually reminds me of how I was with Kelly's kids, and I was more like a big sister to her kids.
Right.
So her kids come to me for everything. Like if they need something, if they're fighting. Like my niece had her wedding last year. If there were any issues with anything, she didn't go to her mom. She came to me, and then I went to her mom. So
that is interesting.
It was totally crazy.
Okay, so I always have felt that you're Kelly's daughter. Remind me, the actress. Kate. She has always felt to me like your niece.
Yes, she's my girl.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so she starred in Beauty and the Beast.
Yes.
And I have to tell you, we loved that play.
It was like the best, wasn't it?
Yes. Tell me a little bit about that.
I think that was a dream come true,
Okay.
truthfully. So she's amazing and performs all over the place now and lives up in Seattle. She's gone in like 3 times. The Rockettes keep calling her in. She's a dancer.
Are you kidding me?
It's right. How cool is that? But it's so hard to place her in the line. So the tallest you can be is 5'10" and half of an inch.
Okay.
She's 5'10" and half of an inch. But there's only a couple of spots, and that's how they fill in.
Got it.
So it's crazy. So they call her and she goes, and she's made it through the full callback, everything. So she's crazy talented and all over the place and does all these things. And so I had started helping with her shows when she was in high school, and we had done, I think that was my 3rd or 4th show with them. And when they said we're going to do Beauty and the Beast, I was like, I love this show and I love it on stage. It's so magical. And when we were casting,
I have to go potty.
okay. Can we push pause? I'm so sorry.
Is she potty trained?
Yes.
Good job. Good job. Kate, Mesa High, Beauty and the Beast, and this would have been 2011.
Gosh, you're good. I couldn't tell you the date.
2011 or 2012.
Something like
because
that.
I remember
Because it was
CC
pre-Greg.
was just a little baby.
Yes.
Okay.
And this is Miss Snow?
This is Beauty and the
No,
Beast.
but was the director Miss Snow? Was that her name?
Sandy Stones. Stones.
Okay.
Amazing.
Honestly, one of the best productions of Beauty and the Beast that I've seen.
Thank you.
No joke. We took my parents, Davey.
Took a
We
village.
all loved that. I mean, that was impressive. And you were heavily involved in that.
I did. So I was the assistant director, and then so my job basically was I did a bunch of the blocking, and then I actually got to choreograph a couple of the numbers, and I did some of the bits and just cleaning, and it was so great. Like I remember being at auditions, and whenever Kate would audition, I would have to remove myself because obviously, I would be biased, but I just sat there beaming. Like she
So proud.
killed it. And I just sat there and somebody said, Bonnie, what do you think? And I said, well, I'm not going to weigh in. And I can't remember who it was, one of the other directors. They're like, does she really need to? Is there even a question?
It was just it was made for her. She was made for that role.
I thought so. Yeah. And it was funny because she's so tall. She will even talk about it now. She's like, that was such a great experience. I don't know if I'll ever get that chance again.
Really?
She's almost 6 feet tall.
Wow.
When's the last time you saw a 6-foot Belle?
That's true. Yeah.
Yeah. And it ended up when we did the casting, we just had oddly tall kids. Like,
wow.
Our Beast was like 6'4" or
That's
something.
amazing.
And they were like the biggest cast ever. They were enormous, but it was really funny.
I'll tell you, that was amazing. But you said that was a dream come
It
true.
was a dream come true.
Why was it a dream come true?
I love spending time with her.
Okay.
We've always been very, very close. We've always been like super bonded. So there was something.
How old were you when she was born?
12.
Oh, wow.
12.
So she was like your little baby doll.
She was my girl. Yes. And like, I don't know what it was like. We just were always really close. And like, I felt like I got her. She reminds me a lot of my mom.
Okay.
So I'm like, I felt like I understood her a little bit more than maybe my sisters. And I'm like, I understand her. And so when she was in high school, I feel like kids drift. You know, they might like not be with their family all the time or super close.
Right.
But for her and I, we got to be really close. I saw her every single day.
Wow.
So it was just an awesome time. And then I love Beauty and the Beast on stage. It's magical. And yeah, it was a great show. Like, I'm so proud of that show.
You should be.
Yeah.
Would you say that theater is one of your passions?
100%. Yes. 100%.
Okay. I want to go back to the play
Our
that you're
play.
casting for.
Yes.
Your play.
Yes.
What is the name of the play?
What is the name of the play? The Family.
The Family.
Yes, The Family.
Bonnie is herself.
Bonnie is myself. Yep.
Meryl Streep is Kelly.
Yes.
Shirley MacLaine as, what's your mom's name?
Mary.
Mary. Okay. So I want to talk about the play.
All right, let's do it.
Who is the main character? Would you say you're the main character?
No.
Who is the main character?
So and when you asked me about this play, I actually have this idea for this show.
Okay.
And like, I would be my mom.
Your
my
mom,
mom would be like the stalwart character.
Okay.
So now I'm like, I don't know if that's Meryl.
I don't want to. Yeah, you need to go with your gut. If you said Meryl, you can put Kelly in there and you can put her as someone else.
Yeah.
But you have to go with what you. I don't want to change this around for you.
What I think about a lot with my show, I talk about it all the time with my family or like randomly, but the effects that we have, like the longevity of our choices and like things that happen, like there are references that my family will make to this day from when my mom was in high school, like her friends made. I've never met these people, but they're referenced so often that I love the impact that people have no idea the impact they have on other people. Yeah.
They've become integrated in your life somehow.
Even people I don't know or that have passed or like just like funny random jokes. And I love to think about like how people, like the impression that people have. And so I think about like my mom's life. One time I was going through a photo album and I found this amazing picture of my mom. It's like 1963. Okay. She is Jackie O'd, like head to toe, and she is stunningly beautiful. I'll have to find it someday and I'll show it to you.
Please do.
Beautiful shot of her. And on the back of it was this random note that my mom had actually written to someone, but it was a picture of her and her friend, and she hadn't written it. Her friend wrote it to her, and she made this comment up to my mom on it about, "Oh, you're so amazing. I can't wait to see you in Hollywood someday." And I was like, my mother has never, ever talked about anything like that. So I was like, who were you in 1963? Yes. And so I think that's the connection that I make with my niece a lot too, because she is like, you know, performing and an actress and wants to be that I sometimes wonder, oh, is that what my mom wanted to be?
Interesting. Okay. Where did your mom grow up?
My mom grew up
I just want a visual.
Yep. Okay. Small town, upstate New York. Okay. It's called Cohoes. My father would call it Palookaville. So, and we all make reference to Palookaville probably on a daily basis.
Love it.
Years ago, my mom was a Yorker, which is part of the Historical Society in New York, and they would go around and they would like excavate things and they would clean things up. And so she would tell us this story about how they went into the Van Skyke mansion and the Van Skykes founded Cohoes and they cleaned up the graveyard, and underneath the house were these tunnels that they had dug out during the French and American War, and they found arrowheads and all this crazy stuff. So we're like, oh, that's amazing. Years later, we're driving and and my mom's like, oh, it's the Van Skyke mansion. Oh my God, there it is. And it's the Van Skyke 2-story house. And we like joke about it to this day. I'm like, that's the Van Skyke mansion? And she's like, Bonzi, they built it in 1700s. They didn't have much architecture. I'm like, Mom, are you kidding me? Like, Versailles was built. Like, what are you talking about? And it's literally like this weird little 2-story house.
But in her mind,
in her memory,
was something grand.
Yes, and we saw the graveyard. It was really neat that they had redone. But like,
that is
tiny
awesome.
Small town. It won like All American City in like 1959 or 1960.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, just tiny town, and Yeah, Palookaville. That's what we call
Palookaville.
it.
That's awesome. So
Yeah.
upstate New York. Okay, so your mom's the main character.
Mom's the main character for sure.
So in each story, there's a goal, right?
Yes.
What is the goal that your mom is trying to achieve in the story? Like, what is the end goal? What?
So I think that's a good question. I think for my mom, the end goal would be, or on this story, would be to see the fruits of her labor in a positive manner.
Okay.
So my mother's mother never met any of her grandkids. She died when my mom was 19. Yeah, so sad. So my mom was convinced for years that she would never have grandkids. And when my sister was pregnant, she's like, I'm going to get hit by a bus. I know that's what's going to happen. I'm going to be hit by a bus. Obviously, she has 10 grandchildren now.
Right.
So I think there's something to be said for she has got to see the fruits of her labor. And so I think for the story, there would have to be something where my mom there would probably be obviously a trial like any other
Right.
story, but in the end she would be resolved that what she had done was right. And like her impression lasted.
Right.
So there's like my mother, it's kind of boastful about it, and it's not in an arrogant way, it's in a please remember who you are. Remember who you are. So like when we were kids, if there was what's that called? Not a coronation. When they swear on the president, inauguration. We stayed home from school.
That's awesome.
That's it. Like if there was anything going up, there was a death of anybody that was big, we stayed home from school. And to this day, like anytime something happens, I want to go and be with my family, and I want to sit with my mom.
And you want to watch, like, did
Yes.
you watch George Bush's?
Of course.
Okay.
And it's funny. So I was at work, but like we were all texting, and my mom like recapped everything, and then I watched a portion of it with her. But it was really funny. And my favorite part is, it becomes like this pissing contest. Like, I don't even know another way to put it, of who knows more about this stuff. Like, it's my favorite.
Well, and of course your mom, right?
And my
She's
mom,
gonna know the most.
Well, and
she's been around the longest.
And it's so funny, but she takes so much pride when we're like, no, it's actually this, or we all get going on it. Like, it's, you can see it in her, like she's like proud peacock. Like,
That's
she's
awesome.
like, these are the fruits of my labor. So I think in the play,
I love that.
yeah, I think it would be something along that where my mom could see something come to fruition that she had taught or trained in a positive manner or a positive light.
Wonderful. I am going to steal that tradition from your mom.
Please
because
do.
I love a funeral.
Oh my gosh, right?
I love a funeral, especially a
State funeral.
state funeral,
Yes.
a funeral of a politician. One time, Dave and I were on vacation, and it was during Ted Kennedy's funeral. And I made him, like, we held
One
up
of
our
the
plans.
best funerals ever done.
And we stayed in that hotel room, and I had to watch every minute of that coverage, and he was probably so annoyed, but being the great husband that he
Amy,
is.
I love you. I glued.
Just watched
glued.
John McCain's.
Of
the
course.
funeral that they had in Arizona was the best one.
Yeah, I
He
agree.
had like 3 services. His was fantastic.
It was
the Arizona
amazing.
one. And then just watched the Bush funeral. But there's just something about a funeral, a political funeral. Politician's funeral.
Or royal.
Yeah.
Yes.
Even like Aretha Franklin's.
Oh, I know.
I mean, I don't know why I love a funeral, especially a funeral, even good friends. One of my favorite funerals
think
I
it's
went
therapeutic.
to. Yeah, and it's like I love going to a funeral where you walk away thinking, man, I want to be a good person.
Yes.
I want people
Amy,
to say
yes.
these things about me when I pass.
There is something to be said. It's like that kick in the pants of like, oh yeah, this is why I'm here.
Yeah.
Like, don't be a tool. Don't
Yeah.
do the following. Like, you want to be a better
Right.
person.
Yeah,
Yes,
totally.
100%.
I love it.
Ted Kennedy's is the best funeral
you
for
and I
me.
have a lot in common.
We do.
I mentioned when I started this, I believe in the intro, I mentioned that we share a mutual love for the Kennedys and Dolly Parton.
Yes.
The Kennedys.
Yes.
So I would
Let's go.
imagine your mom, did she talk a lot about the Kennedys? Did
Like
she
nothing
tell you,
you've ever
I
seen.
remember where I was when JFK was assassinated?
So she'll tell you about, she met Ted Kennedy a million years
kidding
ago.
me?
Oh yes.
Oh, gosh.
Actually, really funny story.
Okay, let's hear it.
My Uncle Ed met John Kennedy. He had come to Troy, New York, which many have described as the armpit of the Great Northeast, like dump. But John Kennedy came campaigning there, and my Uncle Ed was like, Bonnie. He was like a Greek god standing there. And I was like, I can't even imagine. He's like, I've kept tripping over my words. I couldn't say anything. And he said, I remember shaking his hand and thinking, I hope he doesn't realize how much I'm sweating. Like, gods.
Wow.
Gods.
That's amazing.
Amazing. So my mother, lover of all things Kennedy, like,
Yes.
so she would go to Nantucket a lot. and just was in Massachusetts all the time. So like she would go to his favorite restaurant. She had been over to is it Omni Parker where they had gotten engaged? They had like 2 unofficial engagements, but she's been there. So she like grew up like this was her life. So she remembers when.
So it's safe to say you gained your love of the Kennedys
100%
because of your mom.
Yes.
That's fantastic. That is so neat.
Yeah.
My mom also loves the Kennedys.
How can you not?
Yeah. And my mom is a diehard Democrat and has been since she can remember.
From birth.
But she'll talk about, she remembers the day Kennedy was assassinated.
So does my mom. Yes. Crying in the streets.
Yeah.
And they were from this super small town and they're Irish Catholics. I mean, he was the Messiah. I mean, that was it.
Yeah.
So yeah, my mom talks about that. I'm trying to remember if there was any details about it. She just remembers, because it was Thanksgiving right around, like, I think.
November 22nd.
Second. So whatever that week was.
Right.
She was like, it was the worst. And it was bitterly cold.
Yeah.
She's like, it was bitterly cold and the worst Thanksgiving. And yeah, just awful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
They're amazing.
I love how passionate you are.
It's hard not to be. Well, especially like this was ingrained in me like from the get-go.
Right.
Like I'm pretty sure I can still name John Kennedy's brothers and sisters, which is weird.
I feel like the Kennedys, there would have to be some sort of scene in your play that incorporates the Kennedys.
Something or some reference to it.
Right,
like,
exactly.
Like I'll even, and I don't even know if somebody said this to me once, but okay, so if somebody asks you a question and you answer with a question, you answer back with a question instead of answering. Right. I call it a Ted Kennedy. I'm all, did you just Ted Kennedy me? And like I feel like I reference them all the time because they're so ingrained in our life.
I know.
Yeah.
It's pretty amazing how influential they've been.
Crazy.
Who would you say is the most influential person in your mother's life?
Oh, that's a good question.
Because her mother
died so early.
She was young when her mom died.
She did, and she was super close to her dad. So, like, I think my mom's love of cooking came from her mom, but she adored her father. And I think that's why my mom has such a good relationship with my brother, because he looks a lot like her dad. Okay. They both played basketball. They were both really tall men. Sit off to the side, Lovey. And I think that's why she has this love of my brother. I mean, obviously you love your son, but they've always been really close, and I think it's because of her father. So I would say her father is probably the most impactful. Yeah, okay. Most impactful.
Very interesting.
Yeah. Celebrity speaking, I would think maybe Queen Elizabeth, because her whole life for the majority she's been queen. So my mom remembers watching her coronation. Her mom, and this is funny, her mom kept her home from school to watch the coronation. I think my mom was 5 when she was coronated. Awesome.
Mm-hmm. I love that. I am going to do that with my children.
Yes, you have to.
I am. In fact, I made my girls watch. They weren't up early enough to watch the recent royal wedding, but that day I made them sit down and watch the coverage.
Did you see my tea party?
No.
I did a tea party and we dressed up, and I have to show you my pictures. They're hilarious.
Oh, tell me about this tea party.
It was amazing. So I got up. I wasn't going to get up early, but I had people texting me like when it started, and I was like, to hell with this. I got to do it. So I went and turned it on, and I had the baby who was a month old.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And so we got up, and I have pictures. It's hilarious. Like Bridgie we had fascinators that we made.
I love it.
And she had her dress on, and Grayson, somebody gave me randomly this onesie that said the Prince of Wales. And I made him wear a crown. because they have to have something to tell a therapist someday.
Oh, I love it. So you have pictures of it.
I have pictures of it, and it was honestly one of the funnest things ever. And it was like kind of special for her.
Yes.
I want her to know this, like, the night that Hillary Clinton won the nomination, Bridget was a baby. Bridget was maybe, I'm trying to think, she was less than a year old, maybe like 8 months or 9 months, I can't remember. I kept her up and we watched it, and like her acceptance speech, and my husband was like, "You're insane." I'm like, she has to remember this. This is history.
Right.
And she won't remember it, but I want her to be part of it. Like,
absolutely.
This is history. Like,
yes, and I love that. That is so important to instill those lessons in your kids.
Yes.
That is awesome. Yeah, so I made my daughters watch the coverage that day, and I said, you guys will remember this.
You will.
You will.
And your girls will.
Yes. And I love that. But I love that your mom stayed home from school to watch the coronation.
Yes.
That to me is wonderful. I always say, I feel so sorry for kids that have perfect attendance at school.
Amen.
To me,
there's no learning going on at home.
I pity that. Because I'm like, how sad for them. They have to go to school every day.
Right.
Once in a while, a day off, just to be
Right.
lazy or watch an inauguration or a funeral. I think that is so important.
Yes.
I grew up with a mom that in high school, I would have to tell her, Mom, I've got to go to school. I've got to test.
I love your mom. Oh,
I mean,
love
granted,
both
my
your
parents had 4 boys and then the 3 girls. So by the time they got around to the 3 girls, they're probably just exhausted.
Whatever. That's how it
But
was
anyway.
for us too. Yeah.
Yeah, so, it was like, oh, the first, like, a rainy date. Let's stay home and just watch a movie or just do something
Which is
fun.
super cute.
Which is good. I mean, and I'm not saying keep your kids out of school all the time, but once in a while to have a day off, do something fun. I think that's important.
Yes.
And make the memories. So I always say, my kids will never have perfect attendance.
Nor will mine.
And I went to my daughter's school in kindergarten last year, and they had an attendance award, which was odd because Cece actually got an attendance award. It wasn't a perfect attendance award, but she had an attendance award.
That's funny.
Which I was shocked because we had an annual pass to Disneyland last
And you
year.
were like, why
and
are
she
we
was
even
always
here?
gone. So I don't know. I think it must have been a mistake. But anyway, she got the award. So, but anyway, when they did the perfect attendance award, it seriously broke my heart for those poor
Right.
kids.
Like
It
drones.
broke my heart.
Right?
Yeah.
So when I think I was in the 2nd or 3rd grade, my dad was the president of the Arizona Towing Association, and they owned the biggest towing company in Arizona. So they would go on conventions all the time, and my mom would swap. So Kelly would be at home and run the business and keep one of us. So we would get to travel around. And I remember a teacher getting annoyed with my mom. She went to pick up my work, and they said, she really needs to be here. And she was like, someday you'll realize how foolish you sound, and that travel is the best form of education.
Absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
so, but we got to do a lot of cool things. Like, I was 8 and I got to go to New Orleans and like we went to Chicago a bunch. It was awesome. And we always went to like battlefields or museums. We
Right.
always did.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, this year, so Cece is in 1st grade. She missed 2 days of school the 2nd week of school
Yeah.
of the year because she went to Kentucky with her grandparents.
Oh, done.
And
Done.
I remember at Meet the Teacher, we met the teacher. She's darling. And we told her that. Like, we're so sorry she's going to miss the first 2 days of school. This, and, this is why. And she said, you know what? She's going to learn so much more going to Kentucky.
And
than
she gets
in
to
the
be with her
classroom those
grandparents.
2 days,
Yeah.
the 2nd week of school. Yeah, and being with her grandparents
Right.
and making those memories. And
Like she will cherish that forever.
exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's so good. I
Yeah.
love it, Bonnie. And I love that you had your tea party.
I had my tea party and it
Okay.
was a blast.
So talk to me about what were your thoughts on Megan's dress? I have to ask.
So, great question. She looked lovely, but I was really underwhelmed by it. I loved the style. I thought the style was classic and beautiful. I thought it was ill-fitting.
That's my hang.
I wish it was tailored.
Brought in. And I wonder if she maybe got really nervous and lost
And
some
stopped
weight during
eating,
that?
which I'm sure she did.
I don't know.
I mean, I know for
had
my
the same
wedding,
thought.
I stopped, which
Yeah.
is ridiculous. I was not marrying a royal by
Yeah.
any stretch of the imagination. But
Well, yours was fantastic.
as was yours.
Ours
Love.
were very similar.
Very well,
In a way.
our own
Love it.
look.
Okay.
Yeah, that bothered me, and I kept thinking it was funny though. I kept thinking all of them were ill-fitting. So like, if you go back and look at pictures of Charlotte, even her dress is ill-fitting. It's really odd, like oddly tailored outfits.
Yeah.
So I loved her second dress.
Oh, I did too. I know. I kind of wish that would
Stunning.
have been her first.
So do I, because that was like
The main,
a showstopper.
Yeah, exactly.
A showstopper, and I felt kind of bad because I'm like, of course, like immediately I was like, well, it's no Kate. Like it wasn't. Kate's
Right.
was
Hers was
perfection.
perfect. And let's talk about Eugene's reception dress. And
Everything.
another thing, you
Everything.
brought it up. We were texting on a group text during this
Yes,
and during the coverage after.
she looks like
Audrey Askins.
I like dead ringer.
She does.
like crazy dead ringer
Yeah.
for her. Yes,
Yeah, that's fantastic. Oh, goodness. Okay.
I loved her wedding. By the way, I thought her wedding was perfection.
Oh, I did too.
Oh my gosh, like
I did too.
style to the nines, and that reception dress was divine.
It's going to be fun to watch you when Bridget gets married.
Oh my gosh, I know I'm gonna be awful. Like I've already told Greg, I'm like, well, I need a plot of land. He's like, what? I'm like, I want Bridget to have a tented wedding reception. He's like, are you insane? I'm like, yes, and
I love
that's
it.
okay.
I love it. Okay. Talking about fairy tale weddings.
Yes.
We talked about one of your passions being theater. Mm-hmm. Talk to me about one other passion of yours.
Okay.
What's another passion of yours?
I love fashion.
Fashion. Okay.
I love fashion. I know you can't tell, but
Whatever. You
I
always look
love
great.
fashion.
Okay.
Yes, I love the way you dress.
Oh,
I love
thank
very
you.
classic lines.
Thank you.
I love like tailored. I love any. I mean, you could look at anything to me like it's an art. Anything from like Coco Chanel down to Ralph Lauren to anything new, and I love it. It's one of my favorite things to look at.
Really?
Maybe that's why we have such a love. I feel like you share that passion too,
Yeah.
where we love like the Royals or the Kennedys because there is
classics.
something so stalwart and lovely about the way they look.
Right. I don't always practice this, but in my mind, I'd like to
Yes.
say, I will wear anything that Jackie O or
Yes.
Audrey Hepburn would wear.
100%. Yes. And you really do that. Like you definitely stick to a style. You're very clean lines. I love
Why,
that.
thank you.
Yes, my love.
I dumped all the water.
Oh, you dumped out water? Uh-oh. Can you go play back with the water, okay? Okay, thank you. Okay. I love girls. But it's fun with her now. I love dressing her.
I'll bet.
I love it. It's like
Now-
my favorite pastime.
Okay. Does she let you dress her?
It's funny, I think about you often. And I love you. She does for now, but every once in a grand while, she's not having it. And a lot of times I have to use like bargaining tools. She won't wear bows. She doesn't like me to do her hair. So I'm like, oh, please, Bridge. And it's funny because my sister Molly, much more of a tomboy, didn't care about anything like that. She has a very girly girl. Loves to do hair, loves to do makeup, loves to wear bows, loves big dresses. So, yeah. So I bargain with her a lot. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, just enjoy it while you can,
Right.
because you got a strong little
I
girl.
know. I have a very
And that
strong
day
will.
is going to come when she is no longer going to wear what you want her to wear.
I know. I feel
as
like if I can
hard
keep that
as it
bargaining
is-
chip, maybe.
Maybe. But as hard as it is, you just have to embrace it and you have to let her
I don't know if
just
I will.
fly. You will.
And it's weird because
It's
I
hard.
want her to
If
have.
I did, you will.
I want her to have. No. I want her to have her personality. That's my personality girl. She wanted the pearls.
Very classy.
Is it?
See?
She's a classy girl.
Yes, you've already got some influence of the Kennedys
Yes,
in there, right?
That's
there.
my girl right there.
She's a doll. Okay, so back to the play.
Yes. Okay.
So your goal, her goal is just to see her good works, like the
Something
fruits
come
of
to
her labor.
fruition. Yes.
Fruits of her labor. She's done something right. You've incorporated lessons she's taught.
Yes.
Molly, let's bring Molly into
Yes.
the play. Who would play Molly?
Gina Davis.
Oh, very good.
I have always
there
thought-
was no hesitation
No.
there. You knew right away.
Molly looks like Gina Davis. We've always talked about it, and she reminds me of her. So Gina Davis.
Gina
Done.
Davis.
Yes. Done.
That is interesting. I feel that Bette Midler has to be in this play.
Oh,
somehow.
please. She can be. She
she
has
be
to
like
be
an aunt
something.
or someone?
Right? That's funny because if I had thought about this, I probably would have casted my sister as. Maybe Meryl will play me and Bette Midler will play Kelly.
Okay.
Because I would have 100%. I love me some Bette. Yes.
That's awesome.
And Brett is very baughty, like my family, and like
Yes.
out there, and
Right.
we'll just say it.
Just, oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Very New York. Just
Very.
very
very
always-
raw.
Yeah, I always have like this. One of my dreams is to star in a movie
Yes.
with Shirley MacLaine, Diane Keaton,
Oh, I love this.
Bette Midler,
Yes.
Dolly Parton,
Done.
and Lily Tomlin.
Oh, I love
Throw
this.
Jane Fonda in there, too.
Let's show Jane.
9 to 5.
Wasn't that the First Wives Club?
Oh, yes.
pretty much
That
in
sounds
there.
like that's the
I was
cast.
thinking Steel
Yes.
Magnolias, but
Or-
yeah,
yeah.
we can call it
Oh, let's
Steel
throw-
First Wives Club.
And let's throw Sally Field in there. In fact,
love
I
me
am in
some
the middle
Sally
of
Field.
reading Sally Field's biography, her memoir.
Did you see she was here?
Sally Field was?
She was here. She did a book signing, and I am so regretful. One of my good friends wanted to go, and I couldn't go. Oh dear, what are we doing?
That sounds. When was this?
It just like maybe 2 weeks ago.
Oh, I wish I would have known. I would have gone.
I love her.
I love her. So I'm reading her memoir right now, and wow, it is powerful.
Is it scandalous?
I wouldn't. So I'm about halfway through. I wouldn't say so much scandalous as heavy.
Oh,
it's more
really?
heavy than scandalous.
Like dark?
A little bit.
Interesting.
Her childhood.
Oh, really?
Yes, some of the stuff that she went through was super tragic.
Oh, that's so sad. I had no idea.
Yeah, so it's worth the read.
Oh,
I
love Sally
love
Field.
I love her, and I love to read biographies I love a good memoir.
I also love a good memoir.
Okay, if you could meet any fictional character, who would you meet? Who would you have lunch with?
Who would I have lunch
Fictional.
with? Okay. Who would I have lunch with?
I feel like whoever you're going to answer, it's like it's going to be somebody I would pick.
You think so? Who would you pick?
Because I feel like you and I have a lot of similar tastes.
Who would I don't know. Like I feel like I have to pick like my favorite.
Don't overthink it. Just first person that comes to your head. You said fictional character,
Fictional. So we're gonna ask fictional first.
Okay.
And then we will go with a celebrity, an actual celebrity.
Okay. I'm torn. Scarlett O'Hara.
Very good.
Scarlett O'Hara.
Very good.
Yeah.
And why is that?
I feel like I've known her name as long as I've known my own. Like that is my mother's favorite book. It's my sister's favorite book. I'm named after it.
Okay.
So I know. Yeah. I think Scarlett. Yeah.
That's
why
one.
I'm like torn. I was a little bit torn because I love Jane Eyre. And I'm like, would I have lunch with Jane Eyre? I'm like, she might be kind of boring. But that's what I thought. She's more of a Spitfire. I think I'd want to eat with Scarlett.
What was something you would ask her that you don't know from the movies? Something that you maybe have imagined or maybe not.
Or maybe not. What would I ask her? I would ask her what was her best memory of her parents. I love the books, and you don't get to delve into how much she adored her parents. She loved her mother more than anything in the world and adored her dad, but you don't. I think that's what I would ask. I would ask what her best memory was.
Very good.
Because she wasn't close to anybody else except them.
Right.
So.
What is your favorite memory with your own mother?
My favorite memory, I might cry. Oh my goodness, I might cry. So toward the end of my parents' marriage, they were not on good terms, and it was just rough. And my parents had a business, and it was not going well. And we all knew it. And I think I was very receptive to everybody's feelings, where Molly was a little bit younger, my brother was a little bit tuned out, and my sister had already left home. So, it was a little bit more on me.
How old were you at this time?
I was, oh gosh, how old was
Roughly.
I was 9.
Okay.
And there's my daughter again yelling. And my mom had come home one night, and she just was so burned out. She was so burned out. And I remember sitting with her in our living room, and it was dark, and she was just playing with my hair. And I remember saying it was going to get better. And I remember telling her, it's going to get better, Mom. And she said, I'm not so sure of that. When is it going to get better? And I just remember telling her that every dark cloud had a silver lining. Sorry. And she said, I know, you were mine. Aww. So I know, sorry. So
that's beautiful.
My mom has always said really beautiful things. She's very, I don't even know the right word. She's very eloquent in her words. She would say to us, I want you to smile like everyone loves you as much as I do.
Oh,
right?
I
so
love
she's
that.
some good ones.
Please tell me you tell that to Bridgie.
Always.
You need to incorporate
right.
that.
It's a good one, right? So that's my best memory, sitting there with my mom, that I could help her.
Yeah, she was in a vulnerable state.
Yes.
And it was almost like the roles were reversed.
Yes.
And you were able to give her a little bit of sunshine.
Exactly.
And hope.
But she was so beautiful and reciprocating that to me.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah. Oh, dang it. Yeah,
That's
that was good. That was a good
beautiful.
one.
Thank you for sharing.
Yes,
that's
thank
wonderful. You. And you know what? What a beautiful thing that your mother's still around and she gets to enjoy these times with Bridgie.
Yes.
And that's just wonderful. Now, if Bridget were to come to you, or no, let's fast forward.
Okay.
Let's fast forward 25 years.
Okay.
And I'm sitting here interviewing Bridgie.
Okay.
And I ask her, what is your best memory with your mom? What is something you would want her to share?
I would want her to share.
And maybe something that you guys haven't experienced together. I mean, she's only 3 now.
So I actually, just a recent memory that just popped into my mind. One day I was getting ready to leave for work, and Bridge was having a really hard time and didn't want me to go. And my heart was breaking. And sometimes she'll cry, but then she gets over it and it's fine. But this one day she was so upset, and I had left the house, and my heart was breaking, but I had forgotten something. And I came back in, and she was sitting with her with Greg, with Papa, and she was just bawling. And I was standing there. I'm like, oh my gosh. And I looked at Greg and he was like, there's a little girl that needs you. And I said, I'm not going to work. So I didn't go to work.
Good for you, Bonnie.
Yeah, and we went and got donuts. And it was the best day.
Oh my gosh.
It was the best day. And that's what you do sometimes.
That is what you do. So you're a working mom. I'm a working mom.
Yep.
We share that.
Yep.
It is hard.
Yes.
And I'm assuming you have felt a lot of guilt
Of
being
course.
a working mom.
Oh, every day.
Now that you have your second kid, have you found that guilt has started to subside a little bit?
So no, it's so interesting. It feels like it comes in waves.
Okay.
So, but Greg and I have talked about me staying home, but I have to be honest, and I just told him it last week, I'm terrified at that notion.
Yeah.
I have no idea who I am if I'm not there. Like, that's such a part of my identity.
Right.
You know, I get up every day, and I've worked since I was 16 years old.
Yeah.
I love work. I love
Right.
people. I love the energy of being out.
Mm-hmm.
So I felt like a bad mom even saying that, because
shouldn't.
I just do, though, because, you know, people would think, you know, don't your kids mean more? But
You just proved to us, just with this last story you told us, your experience, that your kids do mean more.
oh, they mean everything.
You walked back in, you forgot something, and you saw a little girl that needed her mom, and you said,
That was
fine,
it.
that's it. I'm staying with her. So clearly,
Yes.
you put your family and your children first. They are your
Always.
priority.
Yeah.
It is not a bad thing to enjoy your work.
And it's funny because I don't know, I think I'm a good mom on some days, and some days I'm like, probably could have tried a little bit harder or done a little bit more. I think it's good for Bridget to have other people in her life. Same for Grayson, where I'm really spoiled. When they're not with me, they're with my sister, who I adore, and my mom, their uncle, their cousins.
Right.
So
They're
I'm
with
very
family.
spoiled.
Yeah.
I'm very, very spoiled with that. But I love that dynamic. Like, my mom's 72, not in great health, but Bridgie has a great relationship with her. Today we were going to the car and she was like, no, Grammy. And I was like, what's wrong? She had to run back inside to give Grammy a kiss. Right?
Yeah,
So I'm
that's
like,
neat. That's special.
it's so special. So it comes in waves for me.
Right.
There are some days where I am like, I know that it's much better than I'm at work, where that's my sanity. And I feel like I'm a better mom when I get home because I had an outlet.
Right. And maybe you're more present when you are at home.
Yes. Oh, very. Yes.
You
like
know?
it's funny you said that about like having a hobby, what Davey said to you.
Right.
Like right now, and I know it's only going to be for a little while. They are everything. They're my hobby. Because when I get home, I try to be as present as humanly
Right.
possible. It's his first year. We're still acclimating.
Right.
Like, oh my gosh, I feel like a tornado most mornings getting out of my house, like a crazy person.
Yeah, it's hard.
It's hard. Yeah.
It is a hard thing.
So it comes in waves. That's what I will say. Sometimes I don't feel guilty at all. Other times I feel horrendously guilty. And I think it's because now she's older
Yeah.
and she can voice her opinions on things.
Right.
And she is opinionated. So
You know what? That's a good thing.
it is a good thing.
It's a good thing to have a strong child, as our pediatrician told us with our kids.
Yes.
Strong-willed children, they're a good thing. Stubborn can be a good thing. Just make sure she's always a leader
Yes.
and not a follower.
Yes.
And if she's a leader, it will serve her well.
Exactly.
Okay, so yeah, working mom, I've always worked since I had Cece.
Right.
And most of my work has been from home, but there's times where I have to be in the office, and there
Right.
was a time
You have
where
to
I was
travel.
traveling a lot.
Yeah, I remember.
And that was hard. And I felt a lot of guilt with Cece. By the time Letty came around, I was so ready to go back to work after my maternity leave.
I was really
"Get
ready.
me out. I'm
Yes.
ready."
Yes.
And I think because I had, and we've talked a little bit about this, postpartum blues after
Yes.
that. And I feel like getting back to work just kind of helped me kind of come out of
I
that.
had to have a normal. That
Yeah.
was my normal. Yes.
Exactly. But I feel that my guilt has subsided. I don't feel as guilty.
I wonder if it's because your girls are older now
Could
they're
be.
in school.
Yeah, I don't have a little baby at home.
Right.
Yeah.
Where Bridge is not in school yet.
true.
I feel like that will help so much.
Yeah.
But now she's like very aware. Like, why are you leaving?
Right.
Like, why aren't you here with me? And that, like last night when I came here accidentally, oh my gosh.
You were just so antsy to dive in.
I was like, let's do this. She was beside herself. And like, I had to go to the
rough.
chiropractor tonight. She was beside herself. So she's
Yeah.
like stage 5 clinger right now.
Well, yeah.
And that will subside too.
Yeah. And you know what? Enjoy it.
Yeah.
There's nothing to be like annoyed about, because honestly, there's going to come a time where she's not going to want to be around you.
Exactly. Oh my gosh. I'm sure it'll be next week. Yeah. Like,
so just enjoy it. Enjoy it. We just got back. My husband and I went to Lake Tahoe for 4 days to celebrate our 10-year anniversary. And
Amy,
we
10 years.
10 years. We went.
That was 10 years ago. Oh, your wedding was so great.
We went over to my in-laws to pick up Letty and Cece. And it was about 5 in the evening, and Letty had fallen asleep on the couch. So I went to wake her up, and I was so excited to see her because I hadn't seen her for 4 days. She would not look at me or Davy. She was covering her eyes. She was so mad at us because we left her. And
There's a strong with babies.
I mean, she's always with my mom or her friend.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, she's always with other people, but we left her for 4 days. And she was at my sister-in-law's at one point.
She's like, I'm not having
And she
it.
wouldn't take off her shoes because she kept telling my sister-in-law, Amanda, oh, I'm going to keep my shoes on in case my mom comes and picks me up.
Oh my gosh, Letty.
So anyway, she was mad at me, but then, of course, now, you know, all day she's been very clingy with me. But I was telling my husband, I just love it. There's just the best feel that those little kids, like, you are everything to them.
Right, we are
Like, me and Davy, we are their people. Like, it's just, there's just something magical and just so neat about that sensation. I just hope we can always keep that.
Right, or just remember it when it's, you know, harder
Exactly.
times. It's funny. So last December, we left Bridge with my sister, and my other niece got married in Vegas. So Greg and I went up there, and we were gone only for like 2.5 days max. Like, it was nothing crazy. And by the end, we were like racing home. All I wanted was Bridget. I'm like, all I want is my girl. I miss her. Blah, 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 blah. And I'm texting my sister. She's like, oh, she really wants mama. I'm like, I'm coming, baby. And we get there, and I like jump out of the car, and I run up to the door, and I like grab her, and I give her a hug and all this stuff. And I think I'm even crying. It was ridiculous. And I was pregnant, so I was a little crazy. And she looks at me and she goes, Shown? Mama, Shown? She wanted my phone. That's all she cared about. I was like, are you kidding me right now?
Oh,
that was
it. So funny. But
she didn't care about anything else.
Oh, but she did. She just couldn't express it.
She was like, where's your phone? That thing is great, Mom.
Oh, okay. So Bridgie is 19. Who plays Bridgie?
Oh my gosh. Who does play Bridgie?
Assuming like a character.
We need a real Spitfire.
Yeah.
We need somebody, I don't even know. Who are actresses? Oh, Emma Stone.
Oh, that's a good one.
I love Emma Stone. That's
a really good
She's kind of
one.
quirky, quick-witted. Yeah. Emma Stone.
Do you think that Bridgie will be into theater?
She is pretty like theatrical, like in her own right, you know, emotional. I don't know. I hope she is. I hope I instill, if nothing else, a love and an appreciation for it. Okay. Like, I think there's something to be said for everything to have an appreciation for it, whether it be sports or art, whatever it is. But I hope she has at least the appreciation.
Well, she likes the mic.
She does like, that's true. She does like to be heard.
She does like the mic.
She likes the mic. She likes to be heard.
She's on the right track.
She likes a camera. Maybe I'm terrified right now thinking about that. So, yeah.
So do you have any intentions on getting back into theater, producing, directing?
Would I? Yeah, so I used to do it with Stones all the time. She's on a mission right now with her husband. I would love to work with her again, and I look at little things. So maybe someday, okay, maybe I'll get back into it. But for now, I don't know if I would do it immediately. Probably it takes up a lot of time, so I think I would have to wait till the kids are at least school age, just because. I mean, it is every night in a few hours. But I would love to like go and direct a show and like do one of the Hale shows. I think that'd be a blast.
Which show would you like to produce or direct? Sorry.
What would I do? I would probably do one I have done before just because I love them. I would probably do like a Guys and Dolls.
Okay.
I think that would be fun to start off with again. I love that show. It's one of my favorites. I've been in it. I've directed it. It's a blast. It's quirky. It's goofy. I love it.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So can I ask a question?
Absolutely. Please, Jeff.
This is going to be my new segment.
Okay.
Dun, dun, dun.
So you mentioned that you've been thinking about the story about your family. Mm-hmm. And you've been talking about it. Your family's all aware of it.
Yes.
Have you started writing it?
No.
Why not?
I don't know. I have it. It's funny. I went, and that's a great question. I was in a parking lot one day, and I got this sequence for the season finale in my head, like so in my head that I like told people about it. And then we had gone up to Seattle to see my niece, and I like told them all about this idea, but I have not started writing it. No.
Do you know how to write screen or scripts or plays?
Not even a little. No. No, I've written a couple of children's books. I
Okay.
have not published them, but they're like, that's my outlet.
Really?
I love them.
So
Yes.
here's my challenge for you.
All right, hit me. I'm excited.
You can accept it or not.
Okay, you have to do 50 push-ups. I'm not accepting it.
There are plenty of YouTube channels and there's free software. There's a software called Writer Duet,
Okay.
and it does all the formatting for you, but you want to write a play. So the challenge is for you
All right.
in the next 6 months to write a play.
I'm going to write a play.
Yeah, why not?
6 months.
Just start. Act 1.
Act 1, and you already
Little by
have.
little.
You already have.
You have your
said
season
the
I do.
finale.
I have it
So
mapped.
are you writing a play or a sitcom?
So mine, it was I'm like, I want HBO to pick this show up. It would be a
Sitcom.
drama.
Okay, so
I could see this, Bonnie.
if you want, I can show you. I can point you to resources, and you should be able to
Yes.
write
You need to do it.
at least maybe not the full season. Just write either the pilot or the finale of the episode.
So
I
this
think you
is
should
what
do the I think you should do the pilot and the finale.
That's a good
then
idea.
you've got those. Then you fill in the blanks.
So that's actually what my husband's like. You could stay home with the kids and you could write. That's what you're supposed to be doing. That's what he thinks I should be doing.
Really?
That's kind of where my passion is, but it's my outlet. But it's so hard. When do you write?
So
when you've got
you can
littles.
Well, I mean,
Yeah.
you put them to bed, and then you spend an hour every night,
Yeah.
and you just force yourself
Nap time,
to do
quiet
it.
time.
Yeah.
And you maybe go pick up a couple of books on writing or screenwriting or something.
I love this. Yeah.
And because you've always talked about it.
I have.
And here's the thing. I'm the best talker. I can talk about things all I want, but until someone challenges me, and I can't ever challenge myself for some reason. It's always usually from someone else. When they put a challenge on me, then I can do it. So
I will accept your challenge.
Okay, so
Done.
I will accept your challenge. 6 months.
Done. And this is
Wait,
on
wait,
no,
wait,
not,
December.
not 6 months now, because you're only just going to do an episode.
Come on now.
Okay, how about this?
Well, we will have you back in June.
Done.
Well, I think that's too long, because if you go June, you're going to put it off. You're going to put it off.
Okay.
How about this? How about you write an outline in the next couple weeks,
Okay.
and then what I can do, I'm just going to do this for you.
Okay.
Because this is something that we could offer to people.
I love it.
I love this.
I'm going to create a course for you to write your story,
I love it.
and it's going to be an
I have
online.
goosebumps.
You need to do it.
So I'll give you
excited.
you'll get assignments each week to do, and
I love
and
this.
it'll be chunked. So
Are
don't-
you my fairy godmother? Who are you?
Well, I've taught kids how to write screenplays. I've taught kids how to do stand-up comedy. So to teach someone to do a sitcom, I'm writing a sitcom myself.
Are you?
Yeah.
I was just going to ask if you write.
Yes.
Obviously, you're a creative
Yes.
writer,
But this
but do you
isn't
write?
this isn't my podcast
No,
because
but
I could
keep
talk
going.
for 3
Dive
hours.
into this, Jeff.
So
Let's
no,
dive
but this
in.
is it. We're gonna create a course for you.
Okay.
And then if other viewers want to maybe do it, then you'll be kind of the guinea pig.
I will do it.
And I will use
I think
your
this is great.
I
I
love
will
this.
use your writing samples to help teach other people if that's cool with you.
Done. Yes.
All right, so there's
you
the
can't
challenge.
mock and
I love it.
ridicule
We've got
them
our
too
challenge.
much.
No.
Just a little bit.
No, I mean, never mock or ridicule positive criticism.
Yes.
Or a critique.
Critique. There you go. All good because we need them.
Yeah, you do.
But it's so scary to put yourself out there, right?
But you don't have to worry
Bonnie,
about
you
it.
have it though. You've got the passion. You're bubbly. You've got it. You've got an awesome family.
Right?
You've
I
got
feel like
to tell a
their story has to be told.
You have to tell a story. And I've been around your family. Very animated.
Right.
They're wonderful people.
Right? We are like characters.
You are. You're
Yes.
like characters. And you need to show this to the world.
I agree. I'm excited. Yes.
All right, Bonnie. Well, I think you are a fantastic mother. You're a lovely friend. And I'm
you.
so grateful you're able to come on.
You're the best. I
Thank
love
you for diving in
Thank
with me.
you.
All right. Love you too.
Mwah.
Jeff, we're done.